The election result in Thuringia is truly spectacular, with the alternative for Germany having received almost 33% of the votes and the Greens failing to clear the 5% threshold. Thuringia has become ungovernable. Because of the firewall of the Christian Democratic Union, not a single coalition is mathematically possible. And that's why two new options have now been proposed, and they are really something. Let's take a look at these options and all the calculations up. Here we go. Already last night we could all see that we have a sensational election result in Thuringia and that the established parties have indeed completely collapsed. But do you know what truly makes this result in Thuringia really spectacular? It is the fact that Thuringia has now become absolutely and incredibly ungovernable due to this election result. Because the Christian Democratic Union has its firewall both against the right, against the Alternative for Germany, and on the left against the left. And the Bild newspaper already wrote last night that vote cannot find a majority without Höcke or Ramelow. Election drama in Thuringia. According to current projections, 3 coalitions with a majority would be possible. But the parties want nothing to do with them. 2001. Well, my dear viewers, that's how it is. The Christian Democratic Union man Mario Vogt had already declared himself the unofficial election winner last night, as the Alternative for Germany, despite receiving the most votes, does not have a coalition partner. So, Mario Vogt then arrogantly and confidently declared that he is the election winner of the Democratic Center, which is why he now wants to form a coalition and also wants to hold talks. The stupid thing about it is that Mario Vogt himself does not actually have a majority. Let's calculate the whole thing. Here you can now see the coalition calculator on the Tagesschau website. In the Thuringian State Parliament there are a total of 88 seats, and half of that is 44. Thus, an absolute majority would be reached with 45 seats. The Christian Democratic Union has 23 votes on its own, and if they then enter into the long-announced alliance with the Wagenknecht party, they will have a total of 38 seats, and that is not enough. And even if these two parties now add the 6 seats of the Social Democratic Party, they would only reach approximately 44 seats. That is indeed exactly half. Therefore, it is also not enough for an absolute majority. Would the Christian Democratic Union really have to govern together with all other parties except the Alternative for Germany in order to achieve an absolute majority? And this 4-party alliance, if it were to happen, would not only be a political disaster, but according to the Christian Democratic Union, it is also completely ruled out. The Christian Democratic Union has repeatedly emphasized that they have a firewall against the left as well as a firewall against the right. So they would have to breach the firewall either against the left, meaning against the party the left, or against the right, meaning the Alternative for Germany. However, if they tear down just one of the sides, then the Christian Democratic Union becomes completely unbelievable and is discredited by everyone. And this would undoubtedly, of course, have massive significant implications, both for the Brandenburg election in a few weeks and for the federal election next year. As you can see, with the Greens failing to clear the 5% threshold, there is now exactly that one vote missing that breaks Mario Vogt's backbone. And of course, there is also the other option that the Alternative for Germany teams up with the BSW. Together, they would then have 47 seats and the absolute majority, but that is also excluded. The Bild newspaper reported that BSW and the Alternative for Germany could work together, combining for 46 seats in Thuringia. However, BSW founder Sarah Wagenknecht does not want a government coalition with the far right, at least not in Thuringia under a Minister-President Höcke. And that is why, my dear viewers, there are now 3 truly spectacular options that will of course be discussed absolutely extensively. The first possibility, quite simply, is that if no coalition is found and things do not progress, then there can be new elections. Second possibility, it gets exciting. The Bild newspaper wrote here that Sahra Wagenknecht doesn't want to form a coalition with the Alternative for Germany in Thuringia. But she did not, in fact, make the addition under the leadership of a Minister-President Höcke, actually. And therefore, there could now be the possibility that the Wagenknecht party forms a coalition with the Alternative for Germany. If Höcke indeed renounces the position of Minister-President and another member of the Alternative for Germany becomes Minister-President, or perhaps even a BSW politician, then Höcke would make a political sacrifice to finally bring the Alternative for Germany into government. And yes, this sacrifice would be enormous for the Alternative for Germany in Thuringia, because in Thuringia, the Alternative for Germany is very reliant on Höcke. But perhaps the discussions will lead to the conclusion that a government led by the Alternative for Germany without Höcke is significantly more important than having no Alternative for Germany government at all. Feel free to write in the comments what you think of this idea in your opinion. And the third option that is now currently available would be a minority government. The Bild newspaper reports that late in the evening, the left suddenly signals a way out, the toleration of a minority government. If a possible alliance of Christian Democratic Union, BSW, and Social Democratic Party does not obtain a parliamentary majority, the toleration of a coalition can't be ruled out. If that were the case, we really have to put all options on the table, said the co-chairman of the left in Thuringia, Christian Schaft, to the German press. We want stability. The problem, however, is that the Christian Democratic Union has ruled out cooperation with the left by resolution. Another possible lifeline would be, if there were a defector from the left to the Wagenknecht party, the balance of power could perhaps possibly change again. Well, this option is also extremely interesting. The First Old Party is talking about a minority government, and the interesting thing is that the left is proposing this only for a Christian Democratic Union government, because I think the Alternative for Germany could also form a minority government. They would be alone, without coalition partners, but since they are the strongest party, they would at least have the right to do so. And then the Alternative for Germany could, for example, also make policy. And in the important votes, they could then indeed hope for significant support from the BSW. For example, the topic of the war in 2001, the Wagenknecht party has stated that they will vote with the Alternative for Germany if the proposals and motions are important. And on other issues, such as with the new citizens, the Alternative for Germany could then vote together with the Christian Democratic Union. In this minority government, Höcke could even become the minister-president. So you see, we have a real election thriller here in Thuringia, and the decisions are extremely exciting. But no matter how it all turns out, one thing we can say for sure: the Thuringia election is spectacular and will change everything in Germany. The Traffic Light Coalition is experiencing its super meltdown here, and the established parties are unable to form a government anymore. Let's hope that all this positive and vibrant energy from the region of Thuringia will also spill over to the region of Brandenburg next month and to the federal elections next year. Feel free to share your opinions on these matters in the comments under the video, and share the video with all your friends. 2001.